Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys predicted to reset the market with $200 million contract. The Dallas Cowboys face a decision on the futures of Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. All three star players are eligible for lucrative long-term contract extensions. Parsons is technically heading into the final season of a 4-year, $17 million rookie contract. Dallas also has Parsons under contract for 2025 as the team picked up the 5th-year option for the star. Parsons is slated to have a $21.3 million cap hit next season, a sizable jump from the defender's $5.4 million in 2024. There is no doubt Parsons is headed for a significant raise on his next deal, but the question is by how much. Bleacher Report's Maurice Moton offered projections for some of the deals that will reset the NFL market for their respective positions. Parsons' projection is a 5-year, $200 million contract with $130 million in guaranteed money. This would give Parsons an average annual salary of $40 million. Parsons would be getting paid at the same level of many NFL quarterbacks. The good news is the Cowboys have some wiggle room as Parsons is under contract for at least another 2 seasons. Yet, the challenge is the bill is coming due for Parsons, Prescott and Lamb at about the same time. Let's dive into how Parsons is set to become one of the highest-paid NFL defenders. Parsons' production, combined with versatility, makes the star one of the most valuable players in the NFL. The Cowboys have been able to use Parsons as a chess piece, not only as a traditional linebacker but also as a pass rusher. In 3 terms, Parsons has won Defensive Rookie of the Year, made the NFC's Pro Bowl roster every year and earned 2 All-Pro nods, Moton wrote in a July 16, 2024, article titled, Projecting Contracts for NFL Players Who Could Reset Major Position Markets in 2025. If he wins 2024 Defensive Player of the Year, the Dallas Cowboys will likely have to sign off on a record-setting deal to satisfy his contract demands. Even if Parsons doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year in the upcoming campaign, he's still arguably the league's best pass rusher with at least 13 sacks and 41 pressures in all of his pro seasons, Moton added. On top of that, Parsons has the versatility to impact the game in different ways as an edge rusher and off-ball linebacker. Parsons isn't worried about a contract extension because he knows that his big payday will come soon. The Cowboys star has made the Pro Bowl in all 3 of his NFL seasons, while also notching 2 All-Pro nominations. Parsons has recorded at least 13 sacks and 60 tackles in all 3 years. The defender posted 64 tackles, 33 quarterback hits and 14 sacks in 17 appearances during the 2023 season. For context on Parsons' next contract, Spotrac projects Prescott's market value to be a 4-year, $212 million deal. Factor in Lamb's projected value of a 4-year, $136.1 million contract. Now, you start to see how the Cowboys face a challenge of not only retaining all 3 players but building a contending roster around stars with such high salaries. Cowboys predicted to land Deion and Shedeur Sanders in full circle moment. The sum total of the coaching career of former Cowboys defensive back Deion Sanders is less than impressive. He has a 31-14 record at the collegiate level, but that includes a mark of just 4-8 at Colorado last year, having done well, 27-6, running the show at the HBCU Jackson State before that. Despite the less than impressive backlog as a coach, Sanders remains highly respected in game, maybe so much so that he could be an out-of-left-field candidate to replace lame duck coach Mike McCarthy in Dallas. Maybe not so far out of left field, though. On ESPN this Friday morning, the topic of potential coaches to replace incumbent Mike McCarthy, who is in the final year of his contract and not widely expected to be in Dallas beyond 2024, arose on the unsportsmanlike program with Freddie Coleman and ESPN NFL insider Courtney Cronin. And while Coleman focused on presumed frontrunner Bill Belichick as a McCarthy replacement, Cronin zeroed in on the possibility of Sanders returning to Dallas, somehow with his son, as the head coach to replace McCarthy, who has gone 67-42 in 5 seasons with Dallas. After Coleman mentioned Belichick as a splash pick for Jerry Jones, Cronin responded, "I am surprised you did not say that splash would be Deion Sanders. Sanders has been connected to the Cowboys as a potential coach going back Dallas' January playoff loss to the Packers, when the 12-5 division-winning Cowboys were well embarrassed by the Packers in the opening of the postseason. Of course, it was Belichick that got the bulk of the attention then, and has done so since as a potential McCarthy replacement. But Sanders, too, would be an interesting option, having shown an ability to connect to modern players even if the question of whether that translates to wins remains. Sanders would surely welcome an NFL job, but getting his son to join him would depend on the draft, which he can't necessarily control. Still, the focus was on both Deion and Shedeur Sanders coming to Dallas in tandem. Shedeur Sanders, despite an inconsistent season with the Buffaloes last year, is likely to be a first-round pick this season, perhaps even a top 10 pick. The Cowboys would only make a move for him, presumably, if they were getting rid of star Dak Prescott. Said Cronin, reading the tea leaves, "It is hilarious to put a coach who just went 4-8 at Colorado. We have no idea what the season is going to look like, but we think that maybe him, and his son at quarterback, coming to the Dallas Cowboys, what a full-circle moment that would be." Cronin harkened back to the days of Cowboys coaches Bill Parcells and Wade Phillips, who both left for different reasons more than a decade ago, in warning Dallas owner Jerry Jones about where to go if McCarthy does not pan out in what will be a pressure-packed final year of his contract. "I caution the Dallas Cowboys, having been in this spot before in the early 2000s, the grass is not always greener," she said. She also held out the possibility that the Cowboys will not only be rid of McCarthy after 2024, but that they will make the change during the season from McCarthy to assistant Mike Zimmer, who coached the Minnesota Vikings for 8 seasons. "All the pressure riding on your head coach with your new defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. If at any point they struggle with this team, I would not be surprised to see Mike McCarthy out and Zim taking over on an interim basis," Cronin said. "At least for the time being, considering the history there with Jerry Jones." NFL Insider provides update on Dak Prescott contract talks with the Dallas Cowboys. It's not yet known whether Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott will sign a contract extension ahead of their Week 1 game against the Cleveland Browns. We have heard mixed reports about Prescott's status throughout the entire offseason. The reigning NFL MVP runner-up is set to hit free agency after the 2024 campaign. Dallas does not have the ability to place the franchise tag on him, making things a bit more complicated. It was previously noted that the Cowboys were all right with Prescott playing out the remainder of his deal and testing free agency next spring. In fact, one report suggested that he could very well leave Dallas after acting as the face of the franchise over the past 8 seasons. We now have a bit more information on this courtesy of ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Hat Tip Bleacher Report. While contract talks have not advanced a great deal this offseason, Dallas would like to extend Prescott before he ultimately hits free agency. There is also a market factor in play here. Here's a little bit of a wrinkle. You still have Tua Tagovailoa in Miami, who needs to get a deal done. You still have Jordan Love in Green Bay, who needs to get a deal done, Fowler reported. Dak Prescott has the most leverage of those 3, so he very well could be waiting for those 2 to go first, and then he bats clean up with a huge deal that could be a market resetter. It had been noted multiple times in the past that Prescott is likely looking at north of $60 million annually on a new contract. That would make him the highest-paid NFL player in history. As Fowler suggested, Prescott has all of the leverage here. He boasts a no-trade clause. Dallas can't place the franchise tag on the star quarterback. The team pretty much needs to give in to what Prescott and his team is demanding in order to get this settled ahead of next March. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Dak Prescott? Leave your opinion in the comments.